everybody. Welcome to Keeping It Real. I'm Danny B, and of course, you know this lovely lady. It seems like you get much lovelier each and every episode that goes by. This is a lovely look for you, Jamie.
Thank you, Danny B.
Stunning.
Thank you.
Stunning. Episode 8 already. We're going to zoom into episode 4 of What's Cooking, Jay. And this, I think you're really going to like this episode. And like always, hold tight. A lot of people are responding to your What's Cooking segment.
Yeah.
They're sending their own recipes, which is quite
they're sending me
their version. After they make it.
Yeah, exactly.
Your recipe, I meant to say. And if I sound a little congested, it's because we have allergies going on here, you know, a little bit.
It's allergy season time.
And plus, I had a rough weekend at the casino, a fun time, and we never go away on the weekend. And
no.
For the first time, I think, ever, we went out on a Saturday night, went to the casino, spent another night. Sunday, it was still pretty angry. The crowd was angry, but Saturday, we just ran back to the room and passed out at 7 o'clock. But we definitely had a good weekend. But a lot going on. O.J. Simpson, my goodness, I can tell you, everybody has a story about O.J. You followed the case a little bit.
I definitely did.
I was out there with my cousin Jamo. He was coaching a Little League team. The Knicks were playing Houston, a very important basketball game, and people had their TVs, portable TVs back in the day, Jay.
Yeah.
The stadium, the Little League field was in a little ravine, and they cut the Knick game off. They went right to the chase, and it was by the freeway.
That was big news then.
So by the time everybody stopped, and we ran up the ravine, and we caught the tail end of the chase where the cops were going by. The Bronco had already passed us, but I was there remembering that, and I watched most of the case in California. Saw the verdict at the gym with Mickey when they found O.J. not guilty. I still don't get that. But anyway, he's gone. I was a fan as a kid, but that was a story, and nobody got any money, no justice out of it, which was not even a penny. I don't even think the families got. But
no, I don't think they really cared about they just wanted some kind of justice.
He got to live his life. He went to for the autograph thing.
Right.
But needless to say, we're getting busy right now, Jay.
Yes,
Between the show,
Danny.
the kid work, and the baseball season's kicking in. And I know you're a Boston hat. And again, I wear hats. B for Biancullo. It's like Boston invading New York City.
Yeah.
New York. I'm speaking of a lot going on. The protests, the cities. I always say, listen, I ain't gonna get political at all, but stay the hell out of the cities. It's getting crazy, you know. The world is nuts right now, and you just have to enjoy whatever, I don't know. It's just, I don't even know what to say anymore, Jay. What's your thoughts on what's going on? Because after people can, and then I'll turn it over to you.
Okay.
People can shut down. Protesting is welcome. We've done it forever. Mm-hmm. But when you're stopping a bridge like the Golden State Bridge, or the New York, in New York City, what they've done there as well.
Right.
It's just crazy. Your thoughts on that real quick?
Well, we did a spontaneous trip this weekend to get away for a couple of days, and all this war talk is going on during the weekend. So I'm texting with the boys, I know mom and dad always sound paranoid about things, but shit's going down, and you guys need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to be aware of what's going on all the time. Actually, our oldest son, when we did get back, he was watching all these things develop, like Danny was just talking about, with the Golden Gate Bridge being shut down, protests in New York, Chicago, that he's seen this on TV, it's really real. And this is what, you guys have to be aware of your surroundings. And personally, I would not be going into any cities right now. I think we're on pretty high alert as well.
We've been on it, but we were in a hotel. I think we were drinking that day, and we woke up to that, right?
We did.
Attack
yes.
And then
which
the following,
surprising.
That resulted in the bridge, them, and not just the bridge, everywhere, and just that's what worries me is my son's driving a truck for a living, and his boss, we have our own truck, but it still ain't getting him enough work, so he still has the other job, and He has them out in the cities, and I don't like it.
I think
don't
most parents even worry about their kids when they're at school, when they're away to college. I mean, bad things happen.
Just be alert. Be alert, and that's the best advice I can give on that. But the world's just getting crazy. That's why me and Jamie like to have fun and do our thing, and we do. We have a good time. It's after all these years, it's still fun.
Yeah, we do. How do we
do? I mean, besides the alcohol, it's because you have to be friends first, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like we have the best times when we're just alone. And also, we were waking up to our friends Barbara and Sandro.
Yes, they were
on
the
Fox News. They got there, and they're watching right now. Barbara, touche. I know you watch Fox, a big fan. But they went to the Trump
rally
in Schneckville,
yes.
right? A few of them, Chrissy.
That's definitely
Trumpville. So we're like,
there.
it's just like I wake up to a bombing. They're on TV. I was like, that's why I stopped drinking. After seeing the world go crazy, I said, I gotta stay straight. Right. I gotta be alert. And then also I ran into Big Lou Issa Sunday, a longtime friend and former he's a Hall of Fame boxer in New Jersey and Miami. Professional boxer.
Yeah.
It was just great seeing Big. Oh, he's funny, and we're gonna try to get Louie on. You love Big Lou. Mm-hmm. Karen, his wife, she's known.
They're hysterical.
Yeah, she's funny herself.
Yeah.
But she's been on New Jersey Housewives several times. She had a good relationship with one of the ladies, Mike, and we hope to have them on next week. Ciccarelli's dying to come on.
Oh, really?
Mike Ciccarelli, Northbury. Since a lot of our friends, obviously, a lot of our audience, and we're trying to expand that, obviously, they know it. Local friends mostly. Some people we've never met before, of course.
Okay.
But everybody knows Ciccarelli,
yeah.
and he's dying, and he's out there filming everything, Mike. You've heard Coco talk about Ciccarelli. And
he's the talk of the town, Ciccarelli.
The only thing is, I don't know if we can keep him on focus for more than a minute. He'll jump conversation.
He has a very short attention span.
But he's always entertaining, to say the least. But Big Lou Issa would be great.
You keep kicking the microphone. Yeah, you keep doing it.
Okay, well there I'm doing. Okay, well there I go. I'm shaking my leg.
He does the ballerina leg.
Yeah, I keep.
So it's kicking.
And I see you doing it now, but. Yeah, I know. I keep Jaden's really bad. He'll shake the house.
Yes.
He's sitting there. I'm like, I'm
yeah.
watching. I'm like, is that the hell? It's Jaden.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you do it yourself. You just didn't happen to kick the microphone. And plus, I'm on my tippy toe for some reason. So let me go flat-footed.
Yeah.
Cooking with Jay's doing What's Cooking Jay segment. Though honestly, last week's recipe, the ravioli soup, right?
Yeah.
It was funny because at the time I was like, it might be running out of season, right? For example, today's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
A beautiful day.
Yeah.
But when the video was available on Thursday, it was like gloomy. The whole week they had some rain over the weekend.
Yeah, it was a perfect day for soup.
Got cold out, so the recipe was very suiting for the atmosphere, considering it's not really soup season. But most people, like Mike said, soup is always soup season.
Well, people are saving my recipes or going back to them and, plan on making them in the future. Maybe not necessarily like this moment, but they're going to look back and, watch the video and remake the recipe. I'm getting, text messages,
what else?
Messages and, pictures of the food that they're making and stuff. So that's pretty exciting that it's catching on because honestly, you kind of threw this segment at me like, yeah, Jay, this is what you're going to do. And I'm like, oh, okay, this will be great. And and now I see the vision, what you had. And it is fun. And it is,
Well, I just figured to break up me and you just talking about shit, just have something for yourself too. And I made a little cameo, and maybe I'll make one this week.
And because because
it was funny, Mike, what he did with the clapping thing.
It takes you away from this, everyday craziness.
That's why we do this. Hey, listen, that's why we're doing this.
Think about all these things.
We're having some fun, and that's part of why we always had there. Right? You know what? You can't blame me. In my defense,
you just can't put the microphones here anymore.
I mean, it's very tough.
What? There's one topic.
It's a tight set. I'm sorry.
We talked about last week
about
very bringing
handsy,
up
obviously.
about I guess I don't know if they're trying to make this a law or just parents banding together that everyone wants to get together, and anyone that has younger kids like Mike, your kids, right? So you would be part of this group. You're going to band together with other parents and not let your kids have a smartphone until high school.
Yeah. So
and you're not going to let them have social media until 18, I think, or at least 16, 18.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Mike? I wonder how other people feel about that.
Here's a guy who has about 20 iPhones, you know, so I don't think...
They're his, not his kids, though.
For now.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Well, I guess every circumstance is definitely different. But I feel like because all the kids started to get the smartphones, it was like they all had to have it. And then you would be like left out, right? And feeling like a nerd if you didn't have it, like a loser.
That's why the kids are messed up, though, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The kids are messed up over these smartphones. When everything was the flip phone, and they're right, it served a purpose. You can get in touch with your
it's
kid.
like too much for their young brains, but
They're
at the
not
same
developed.
time, we also have to discuss
Then again, I'm
about
61 and my mind still ain't developed properly.
And adults that misuse it
hypocrite.
as well, you know, and have too much information, or people that go on rants all the time, like putting other people down or ranting on stuff like so quickly. Or if you follow some of these pages and like I follow the Weight Watcher, and people like say mean things to people with their points, and you know, you didn't do the points right, like something so stupid. It's like, oh my god, like that's how bad, you know. Guess, and that's adults. It's not like a young kid doing it.
It's mostly adults, and adults are worse than.
Right, exactly. And a lot of these kids already have problems, but I feel like, and like this weekend too, when we went away, Jace worked, Jaden took them back and forth. But we're like, listen, you can't leave the house. You can't go out. You have to stay in. He has his computer. Obviously, we talked about that.
This was before the bombing too. We didn't know this happened.
Yeah, but I don't want to have to worry about him, because he's only 14. I don't want to have to worry about him out. So I'm like, go on your computer and stay on it. So that way I know that you're safe at home.
What I'm gathering then, as a parent, you're seeing this happen overseas. You're worried about it happening right here in U.S. territory.
What do you mean?
The bombing. Because you're worried about, when you saw the bombing, your first reaction as a parent is...
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean,
even though that happened.
Yeah, but just in general, without that even going on, when we're away and our kids are home, I'd rather know that they're home. Even Jaden, I don't like him going out driving. I'm really weird like that. Like, everyone's at home, they're safe, me and Dad are out.
Do you feel safe though here anymore?
Do
you feel safe
in our town? In our yeah, I do. Okay. I do, but I am always worried. That's why I say I feel bad for people who live in the city areas and stuff where that they are worried, and people in Israel that are worried. They're talking about people being in bomb shelters right now. Like these are kids that go to school, live their lives, and they're in bomb shelters right now.
They're so used to it though. That's been 100 years
well,
plus.
see, this is why I tell our boys about it, because like you said, they're so used to it.
Unfortunately, that's a horrible thing to be used to, is
you
living
have to
like
teach
that.
your kids, because they can't be blindsided when something does happen. You have to keep your kids, especially when they're older, you have to let them know. You can't keep your kids from everything, because then they're going to get blindsided when things do happen.
Yeah, I mean...
And a lot of these kids, like our kids, they didn't go through 9/11, so they have no, they've seen it, they've talked about it in school, but unless you actually
but our kids
lived
are
in
aware
that time,
of it. They respect all that because we enforced it.
But in their generation, and
overall,
my fear is something's going to happen that our kids are going to have to remember or see life in a different way, because I think that changed a lot of people at that point. In a lot of different directions.
Well, look, here we are today, still on it. We still have that mindset and concern. We've seen, I don't know, I see some bad shit headed our way, but
because there's evil. There's a lot of evil people out there that want to, do bad. So it's
just ugly times. And that's why we're trying to we do our podcast again to have fun mostly, and we enjoy.
So let's stick to positive.
Right. Okay. But we didn't say anything wrong.
No,
just say it's a damn.
Yes, right.
And because again, we're not trying to offend anybody. But the world is crazy, and nobody can disagree with that. It's not right.
Yeah, and I feel like too, like people,
it's not right.
It's good to have your opinions and everything, but you really have to be, especially us doing YouTube and doing these videos, you do have to be aware of the content that you put out. And so you never want to disrespect anyone. You never want to
but you
hurt
have to be
people.
true to yourself.
You got to
too,
be
at the
true,
same time.
but there's a time and a place for certain conversations.
I'm all about hearing everybody's
Yeah.
view on things,
Right.
you know, and that's
There's
the
a time
problem.
and a place
Everybody
for it.
should
Yeah.
be able to have their opinion,
Right.
and you should be able to understand. Like it was years ago. You heard that, right? Listen,
Right.
I don't.
People
agree
had
with
tough
you.
skin, though. That's the thing. People had tough skin. I feel like you and I have tough skin. Our kids, because we've built them to be tough skin. But there's a lot of people who don't have that, and they get hurt over things. You know
what? 'Cause
everyone's different.
You know what's
just like
happening?
everyone's pain tolerance.
You know what?
is
It's more shocking to the older people like us, myself, even people older than me, when they went from this to that.
Yeah.
And they're watching
Lot of
everything
things.
just happen so fast. And what they thought getting a TV was like overwhelming back in the day.
Yeah.
They were,
Right.
they went from radio. They didn't even have radio, obviously, at one time. Radio and then television, and it was shocking. You're not at home, and then this happened, and now it's just too fast.
Just like
you know?
even with smoking cigarettes, they used to
I
smoke
would-
cigarettes everywhere on top of everyone.
I know.
Like
So this
delivering
is,
babies, the doctor would have a
I
cigarette.
guess as I'm older than you, obviously, and obviously the Mike, but I remember them saying, "You kids in the '60s, you kids don't even know what you had." I'm like, "Well, we have a TV. That's about it back," and we were grateful
Not
for
what
that.
they really have.
But we still had to walk
Yeah.
miles just like they did. We actually did, but they were letting us know how good we had
Yeah.
it in the '60s. Because they were pissed at, the spoiled. We were spoiled.
Well, you know what?
So
I think is
every
different, too.
generation, this is shocking. But now
is.
it's happening so fast. So it's just too much for a lot of people to understand.
And with the social media and the kids having access to the phones
Right.
and stuff like that. But a lot of parents use them as like a crutch, like a device of like, entertain the kids for a little bit because like back in the day when Danny's talking about, like a lot of moms were home. That's what they did. They were the housewives. They were home, taking care of everything
Right.
going on there.
To like the mid 70s, early
the kids,
80s, yeah.
dad came home and maybe hung out with the kids, maybe not.
Not
and that
mine.
was like normal. Now it's like mom and dad have to work and, they're coming home. They got to make dinner. They got to do all this stuff. So it's like, okay, go on your iPad or go on, your
Just
phone.
convenient. And here's another thing too with the kids. Get the kids off the iPads. They talk about like the
Even in
iPhone,
school.
but in school, if you're
Yeah.
going to get the kids off of the phones, and that we can talk about that more, but it starts with getting them off the
Right.
iPad in the classroom because it's the same thing. You teach them again. Let them go paper and the kids don't even have to
Because
write.
they get curious about these apps. Like, okay, at some point they're like, okay, I don't want to like
No, but
learn
if you're going to
math
keep the
on
kids,
apps.
if they're
I want to
thinking,
see what
if
other
they're,
apps
if they're
are out
saying
there.
keep the smartphones out of the kids' hands till 18,
Yeah, they
then
should
don't
go
use
back
the
up.
iPads
Yeah,
at
right.
school either to
Yeah.
teach them. That's I don't know. That's just again my opinion. But anyway, we just shared our viewpoints on. Everybody should just like understand and respect. You don't have to
Yeah.
agree with somebody's
No.
opinion. Respect
Yeah.
it.
Right.
You don't have to agree with it, but it comes down to respecting it.
Right.
Like we used to say, I don't agree with your opinion, but I respect it. I
Right,
respect it, or
exactly.
yeah,
Agree to
whatever.
disagree, right, yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I guess this country was built on that, but
And a lot of things, though, I have to say, were left at home. Like, people didn't talk about political stuff all around. They
gotten
weren't
too crazy.
online, putting their opinions out all the time. They didn't
Because now
have
they
that.
have
it's
a
like
stronger
it's
voice, 'cause
you talk to your
everybody-
husband
it's
about
a
it, or maybe your
simple- but
cousins,
no.
people in your small circle. You weren't out there blabbing to the world all the time.
now you can.
Now
Anybody
you
can. Now
Yes,
anybody
right.
can. It used to be a very select few could. They had the media.
That's
or the
why it's hard, because I
newspaper.
feel like if you have one-on-one conversations, like you debate someone, like say they're, in a different direction than you are, that's where you lose out on that one-on-one conversation where you can agree to disagree. Like, I respect your point of view. I see yours, you see mine, and, that's it, and you're friendly about it. Where
Right.
behind the computer, this is what people get mean and threatening.
Tough
and
guys.
this is a problem with the young kids because they get in fights in school, the Snapchat, then they put obscene things on there or threaten each other on there. And that's a problem. I mean, in Jace's school, we get emails about that all the time where, check your kids' stuff because these kids, it's like cyber bullying, even with the phones, like, I mean, these kids can take pictures and videos. I mean, they can do, I mean, they can do so much with these things.
And they are. It's not,
and now with AI too, I mean, they could, put somebody's face on somebody else's body and say that this girl, was naked. I mean, anything can happen. It's like, you don't know.
It's sad. I stopped doing the reels. I was telling you just a couple of shows ago, I would like the reels, but now I'm getting fooled by some of the AI. I'm like, that ain't Steven Seagal. That can't be the way he looks. That ain't, like, I know he got heavy, but that ain't
making me out.
That ain't him. I'm like, and that alligator ain't hanging out with that baby like that. That's bullshit. So I'm like,
so you're convinced?
I'm like,
I was telling you that. I'm like, I don't know about that stuff.
No, this is what we should be. I was falling for it. Like, I got into it with certain things like the Paris, and then it went to. No, I'm seeing like.
They lured you in.
No, I'm seeing like different fam. Like, that can't be him.
Right.
I mean, he's not that good looking no more, but he ain't that bad. I mean, anyway. Getting older, we talked about.
Was he overweight or something?
Well, yeah, Steven Seagal's way overweight, but the face, it's just like the AI. Yeah,
I was gonna say maybe he does look bad.
Yeah, but it was an AI face.
Well, there's a lot of good-looking guys when they were younger in Hollywood, and now they're just like, woo.
Yeah, and getting older has its benefits, obviously, because you made it. One important thing, we talked about how it's shocking what's going on today for the older people, but getting old is a good thing. As much as I hate it, the way you feel at times, and things that grow that didn't grow and should grow that won't grow, and like the hair on the head won't grow, but it'll come out of your ear.
Yeah, I'm at that point. I gotta check my ears. I'm like, I got little chin hairs. I gotta make sure they're not there.
So we can all relate to this getting old. But the good thing is you made it. You want to say, getting old sucks. I hate it. Well, then die. I mean, that's your option. You hate it so much, then die. Just kidding. I hate this shit. Then the only option is to check out.
Right.
Well, be grateful that you made it. And you know who told me that made sense? Dr. Sackman. He's a wise guy. We talked about him a few times. Doc, that made sense.
Yeah,
because I had said to him during one of the visits, he's like, "Hey, just getting old stuff. I don't know about it." He goes, "Well, it's not such a bad thing when you think about it."
Right, it's not. I was
like,
it really
what, Doc?
It's...
I was complaining about aches and pains. Though. I didn't want to die by no means. I was like, the shoulder hurts and. And he's like, hey, it is,
Well, that's why also, like, working out definitely helps, keeping in good shape, and being able to move around as you get older.
Like
and
later on today, I'm going to baseball practice on this beautiful day.
Yeah.
I'm going to change back into my outdoor outfit on this beautiful day and play some baseball with our son.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm upset that they pushed back opening day for the kids till May. It's a long wait.
Right. I think some of them, because we've seen people out and they're like little
leagues
hasn't
been so great
they
either.
They start at different times.
Right, but for our league here, it's like a long wait.
Right.
I think it had to do with the high school kids.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
Yeah, we're new to this area here. Not the area, but this team.
Yeah, but they all start, it's the same level. They all start around the same time for this league.
No, but last year we were allowed to start, but the seniors that were playing freshmen, they couldn't play.
Maybe, I don't know.
Anyway, Yankees, I'm not wearing their hat. I'm not a Boston fan. Biancullo, and just felt like wearing it to piss you off anyway. Mets are coming back a little bit. I said, right now as we're doing today's show, they're 8-8, and again, I said it's a long season. They'll give you some hope and mostly disappointment. But the Yankees look really good. They really do. And I'm rooting for the Yankees too. Listen, if it ain't going to be the Mets, I want the Yankees. If they play each other, I want the Mets to win. So, and one thing about you friends in North Bergen, they hate on the Mets so much, though. It's like,
Met fans do not, online.
Us Met fans do not hate Yankee fans. Maybe they're not rooting for them, but we don't hate them. They hate us for some reason.
People will see them with different hats. Oh, you're like trying to start trouble. Really? Yeah. It's a hat. It's a hat.
Sometimes my cowboy hat really fucks me up. I got to go out. Oh, this guy again. I got to deal with him. I'm going to smack him one day. He's getting... I remember I'm at the gym.
Over a hat.
I'm at the gym, and there's this big guy. He's big. He's young. He's 325 pounds, 6'3".
Yeah.
Big, though, heavy. He can't move well. And he's with a little guy. It's like Harvey and that the honeymooner thing. But anyway, he sees the hat. I'm just minding my business, Cowboys ain't playing the Eagles that day. I don't even know if it was football season. It might have been, but anyway. Oh, how can that douchebag over there wear the cowboy hat? I'm like, is he talking to me?
Yeah.
Anybody that wears that hat has to be a douchebag. I don't know if he knew I was here, and I'm like, is this talk? I even said to Janice, I don't. This fuck is that?
That's why I wear a headset and listen to music. I don't hear anybody's stuff.
Yeah, and then every time I saw him, I started giving him dirty fucking looks back. Like, I don't care how big you are, fuck. I'll hit you with one of these fucking dumbbells. Especially I'm minding my business.
Oh boy!
And you can't move. I can still move pretty good, especially when I know if you don't get me, I'm gotta get myself before they get me. Is what I'm trying to say. You know what I was trying to say.
I know what you're trying to say, Danny B.
Anyway.
Okay.
What else say? But yeah, getting old has its benefits. Disadvantages is the hair growing out of the ears, the thing.
I get crappy skin.
Yeah, the
I
crappy
got lunch
thing
lady
again.
arms. You know, get the little.
But it's all good. But you know
arms.
what? Again, it's a beautiful time of the year.
Yeah.
I love spring. It seems like the weather's kind of turning to a positive here.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, even though the world's kind of ugly right now, enjoy every day, you know. And
now, see, I get paranoid where it's like, all right, I wanted to do some things during the summertime when Jace gets out of school, but now I'm like, I have issues. Like, I have issues where, like, I can't be far from my family. It's Danny and I have never gotten on a plane and left our kids, like, ever. Okay, we've never, like, went, like, really far away from them for, like, a week. I think we've been away for a couple days, like, recently. We just, you know, obviously.
Yeah, but what are we,
weekends, but we're, like, down the street.
10-minute ride away. I don't know if that's a vacation.
And especially now when I know the world is crazy right now, like, I really can't go too far away from them. Like, we all have to be together.
No, you know
and
what?
then I start worrying about the cats are home alone.
And
Gino is like a dog. And, you know, Coco, we could leave him for a few days by himself. But Gino, no, you can't. He's like a dog. Like, he needs his love, his attention, his wet food. You know, they get that twice a day. Yep. And I can't just have anybody come in here because
That's
the other
what I like
cat
about
gets paranoid.
I love the fact that I don't have to worry about walking them in the morning. You wake up, you clean the shit out of the litter box.
Yeah,
that's what I like about
like,
cats.
The dog. I mean, really, when you think, like, people are like, oh, cats, like, you're such a servant to, you know, because cats have that attitude. But it's like, literally, you're picking up dog shit with your hands. Like, you got to put them in. It's so
Some
nasty.
of it's really squishy looking, too. I mean, there's this one dog in the neighborhood, and it's usually the smaller dogs, too, that drop the biggest noise.
It's disgusting.
And I just like, oh, you dirty little fucker.
Yeah.
And he looked. His little face.
Dogs are good companion and stuff.
They are. I'm a dog fan. I do love dogs.
But then they start smelling, like when you take them out and they're like, they got that wet dog smell.
They come in from the outdoor, they got that
little,
you smell like a child that was out playing all day.
Yeah, no.
And then when it's nasty, it's the bad weather. Now, if they live outside, which is kind of cruel, I could never have
I don't think a dog should live outside.
Some people don't let their dogs in the house, which is cruel. Or they let them like in the basement.
I'm pretty sure that's like against the law.
No, it's not.
That's not good.
It's not.
Yeah, that's
if it was,
well, I don't know why anybody would have other than the farm dogs. Like a dog at a farm that's living his life and he has access to come in, like something like that. But like if you have a dog chained up in your backyard, that's some messed up shit.
How about if he had his own little shelter in the back and it was heated and air conditioned? How'd you feel about that?
But what is his point to be there? Like, he's an animal. He's like, they're like domesticated. They should be
I agree,
like
but I'm just telling you, some people don't let them in the house.
Like, some people don't let their dogs sleep on their bed with them. I would if I had a dog.
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I got a cat on my stomach every night and a cat on my head. That's how I sleep. And then I'm on allergy medication all the time.
I haven't owned a dog 40-something since I was a teenager.
I've thought about it. Like with the cats, we can't have the dogs. I don't want to mess up their
I think
their situation.
We had a little pit bull for a couple of months when I was like 21, and we gave it Gary. It wasn't even mine. It was Gary. But as a kid, I had a Saint Bernard, and that was awful. Well, I loved that dog, but that was awful.
This has changed.
Thank God we didn't pick up the shit back in the day. That would have fucked me up.
Well, yeah.
I didn't want. No, I ain't picking up that Saint Bernard shit. You see this? You seen pictures of that dog?
Yeah.
That thing used to drag me up and down the staircase. Yeah. Boom. But I was the only one who would walk the damn thing. But you know what? I did have to clean up this shit often, but not outside in the fucking house, because if I didn't clean it, nobody else would. Mary, if you're watching, contest to this, please. Remember the Tino and the shit, the size of his shit?
Oy, like a horse.
Like right there, like the door. Couldn't get to school in the morning. That's why I played hooky a lot.
People back in the day like used to treat animals way differently, and you didn't see as many dogs. Like people like legitimately have dogs as that's their kids now. So that's why you see. I mean, they have the little baby carriages. They have like little backpacks for them. I mean, they're known as therapy animals now, right? I mean, people get them certified.
I've seen an alligator on trying to get on a plane. Does that count as a therapy animal? An alligator on a plane? Did you see that one, Mike?
Maybe if an alligator would be considered a domesticated animal, but because it's not, I don't think so.
Jaden told me about that. Actually showed me. I was like, how the hell does somebody get away with that?
It's crazy. AI.
So, no, it's not. It's
I'll blame it all on AI.
It's that. Yes. You may as well. I blame it on everything on AI. But anyway, Jay, what do you think? It's time to get in the kitchen and
honestly, what's cooking, Jay?
I got to get to the baseball for Jace today, and
no drinky poos. We had enough over the weekend.
I know. Not just. I'm taking a little break for a bit. That's it.
We got to look good.
No, you know why? Because I got a lot going on right now, so I have to keep a clear head.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I got to be honest, when I do go out and drink, it takes me a day or two to recover. So,
we had a nice weekend, and I would definitely tell all the parents, especially with like young kids, like I was telling Mike earlier, get a weekend away or at least a night away. Even if you go to a local hotel and just like go order room service, have
so
mom and dad
advice.
alone time together. Because if not, you guys are not going to grow together. You're going to grow apart. You're going to start resenting each other. You're not going to have time. You're going to forget why you loved each other, and you will get through that time when those kids are driving you crazy. It just will lead into a different what they're going to drive you crazy with. But when they're younger,
always going to drive you crazy.
You definitely, when you don't have, like now our kids are older, so we can go out to lunch and dinner or whatever without them. But when they're little, you can't. But you should do. And I would even say have at least once a month have date night where you go out to dinner together, or have someone come pick the kids up and make dinner with each other at home.
When the kids were younger, we didn't have babysitters, so you didn't have that luxury. They had to come with us. Your mother was. We were with our kids all the time. It was always us. But when we had that opportunity, we took advantage.
But I think that's why we're so close.
We kind of abused it after we could do it.
Right. But that's why we're really close to our kids, because they've always been, with us. And I'm very territorial. Like, I don't like, people being all about my Danny, and I don't like people being all about my kids, I would never be that woman, that mother that like my kids ran to another woman, like other than, their grandmothers, but like, that's my kid.
Look up to them? Woman?
Like I'm not into that.
Why would they?
That does happen.
That ain't happen. I can tell you that.
Okay, if you have a nanny, you have a babysitter that you like all the time, a nanny. That would be different.
Oh, that's a good question. A sister, auntie, an auntie. You can love your auntie.
I'm saying outside of our circle.
Yeah, you can love your auntie. I love my aunt. My mother wasn't around.
I never had to deal with that because I have 4 older brothers.
My aunts, I love my aunts because my mother wasn't around, and my mother's been gone for 10 years. But as a kid, my mother wasn't around, so I loved my 2 aunts, and they were like my life. So it's okay to love your aunties.
Yeah, but I feel like your mother probably got some feelings time to time. Yeah.
We went from like closing the podcast to actually, if I want to do a good show, it could be about my family. The whole podcast. I mean, we could do a whole. Everybody knows the Biancullo family and their history in West New York and Polk Street and their legend. And we talked about my grandfather's legacy a little bit, but no, getting back to that. Yeah, it's okay, Mike, to love your aunties. And I always loved my mother, but I was pissed at her. I was a young kid, so they were more important at one time in my life. And as I got older, I kind of got mad at my mom, and I still took preference over my one aunt. And relationships changed over the course of time. But, I'm going to say I love my mom in life and in death as well, of course. It's still,
exactly.
Even though she wasn't the best, I still love her and respect. I was never mean to her, right? I was always good to her. No, you
weren't. And me and my mom were talking earlier, and we'll finish it with this. But one thing I really respect about Danny, because my mom and I were talking about how people use their childhood
blame,
as an excuse for what they chose to do later on in their life. And I said, one thing about Danny is always never ever blamed, like, I didn't know who my dad was and my mom was this, or my mom, or this happened to me. He was always like, whatever I chose to do, I chose to do it. It had nothing to do with that. And people need to take ownership of that as well. Like, you can't blame everything you do as an adult on what happened to you as a child. I mean, I definitely know you go down certain roads maybe because of that.
Scars people differently, though. Some people have thicker skin and they deal with it differently, but but you have
to deal with it.
That's it. But some people don't have that capability.
Right. Well, like we said, everyone's tolerance to everything is different.
Absolutely. Right. But before, there was one thing where I want to ask me if I would ever go back to the casino again on a Saturday.
Oh, would you ever go back to the casino on a weekend?
If you're asking me advice to anybody that's...
Yeah, would you go? Would anyone go? Would you go to the casino? What was your advice? What would your advice be?
On a Saturday?
Uh-huh.
Don't. That's going around too.
Don't do it. Actually, that place was crazy, and it forced us to back in the room. We were like, there's too many people here.
We were pretty...
I don't do good in crowds anymore.
Yeah, and we were pretty hammered, and usually when I'm hammered, I'll deal with anything. But
we had a good time,
this is too much.
Yeah.
We were in bed by 7:30, right?
We passed F out. It was great.
And then Sunday I
slept with my makeup on, which I never do. It was like... Woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh my God, my mascara's all down. I'm like, oh boy.
You fell asleep to a piece of cake too, if I remember.
Oh, they have the best cake there. Oh my God. You gotta have cake. All right, Danny. So
are we ready to get to the kitchen? You get on out of here. I'll hold down the fort. I can tell more stories while you're fixing up tonight's dinner.
Oh, okay.
No. We'll talk to you all next week, and hopefully we'll have Big Louisa. If not, we'll try to get Chickarelli. We have to bring a guest in soon.
Yeah,
we're starting. That
time. We're starting the process of having.
Let's do it. Next week we'll have somebody
on the
here.
Show.
Hopefully it's Big Lou, but Chickarelli's always entertaining as well.
He's a character.
You'll get a kick out of either one of them. So we'll talk. Have you a great weekend, and let's go Mets. Let's go Yankees. Okay? And I don't care about Boston. It's just a hat.
It's time to get cooking with What's Cooking Jay. Grab a spatula, get ready to sway. Come on and cook with Jay, cook with Jay.
Hey everyone, welcome to What's Cooking Jay. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to make lemon chicken. Sometimes it's called chicken franchise, but I like to call it lemon chicken because I'm not Italian, so I like to call it lemon, and I like to use a little bit more lemon than maybe they usually use in the chicken franchise. You're gonna need 3 chicken breasts, whatever brand you get, that's fine. You're gonna need a 48-ounce chicken broth. You're going to need 5 to 6 lemons and freshly squeezed lemon juice from those lemons. You're going to need garlic powder, salt, pepper, also white wine. I like these small 4 packs. This is perfect size for the broth, for the chicken broth. Our measurements for that. You're going to need parsley flakes as well. White flour, all-purpose flour you're going to need, and some olive oil. I started doing some of my preparation so I can cut this in half, so I'm just gonna show you guys how I make my chicken. And I think typically with chicken franchise lemon chicken, you want a thinner piece of chicken. So I know a lot of people do the pounding, they pound the chicken. I never personally got into the pounding of the chicken, so I came up with my own style and I slice it thin. So I take one chicken breast here and I hold it, and I don't trust my technique. I'm not a professional in any way. This is just how I do it. I use a slicing knife that I got, and it's a good sharp slicing knife, so you want to be careful, but I just push down on it and I go in the middle of the chicken breast and I just like slice it all the way down and just cut it, and then we're going to clean it up. So some people like maybe that thick of a piece. I still cut it down some, and I always get the veiny stuff, the fat, I get that all off. So I cut it for about this size. I don't know if you can see that, Mike. Yeah. So I cut that down to that. let me see here. And it's very easy to do. I do most of my chickens thinly sliced. I think I talked about that. Like my veggies sliced thin, but it just depends on what you like. See, I feel like this piece is still a little too thick. What's also nice about this is that it actually, your meat goes further. And I know in the economy and the prices of food, you know, you want your food to go longer and feed more people. So this is a good way to do it if you slice your meat down. Okay, so I'm going to get all that nasty part off of it. I mean, look at this is one piece. I don't like any of that fat stuff, the veiny stuff. I get that all off. And you got to be careful because obviously chicken is slimy, so you don't want to cut yourself. So look at how much I got from that, right? That's a good amount. Now I got to go over here to wash my hands, Mike. What I do with the chicken now, I add garlic powder, salt, pepper, and I put my spices on the chicken to give it some flavor. I think when my mother-in-law taught me how to make this, she didn't do that. I think maybe she just did salt and pepper. I love garlic. I've talked about this before, that I love garlic. So I add the garlic powder. So you're gonna need the garlic powder. And I just put that on there. I eye it up. I don't have any exact measurement. I put the salt on there and I do the pepper. So we put the pepper on there and then I mix it. I mix it together to get all that flavor onto the chicken. So now that I have the spices on the chicken, I'm gonna dip it into the egg. And this is like done just like if you would do breaded chicken. It's basically the same thing, except I'm using the white flour. I've used whole wheat flour before. I thought it was good. Danny thinks the white flour is better, but you could use a wheat flour if you wanted to seem like you wanted to be a little more healthier. So you're just doing that. You're gonna basically flour it up, bread it up like you would breaded chicken, and you're gonna put that to the side. You're gonna dip it into that egg, a little slimy thing, slippery, and you're gonna nicely put the white flour on here. You wanna make sure it's like a good amount. You wanna cover that up. Okay. We got a few more pieces. This is why I wanted to cut this in half the time, so you guys didn't have to sit here and watch me do every last piece here. And let me think. I got all the ingredients. And this is something that the preparation doesn't take too long. I would say for me, the slicing of the chicken is the time consuming part. There is a few little steps in this, but it's all a one dish recipe as well. I am steaming some broccoli on the side for this. You can use it in pasta or just eat it alone. It's fantastic just alone. Just depends on what you're craving. I know when Danny's trying to be healthy, he likes the broccoli with it, and so I made him the broccoli to go with it. And Mike, I'm sure you're gonna enjoy it as well. But this is a recipe that I've made for a lot of people, and that's all my dead stuff, or did I throw my dead stuff? That's my dead stuff, look at that. I didn't throw that part away. Okay, so I'm gonna take my olive oil and I'm just gonna add it to my pan. This olive oil is gonna stay in here. We're gonna leave everything in here. So you just wanna coat the bottom of it. And then we're gonna put that on a medium high heat. And we're gonna let that heat up a little bit. But yeah, this is a big hit for when I make this, when people come over for parties or entertaining. Danny loves it, I love it. The only thing is that this portion that I make actually goes a really, long way. So we're, 3 days into it, and it's like we still have more left. So it is something what just 3 pieces could, really feed, probably like 5 people with it. Especially if you put pasta on the side with it and everybody gets like 2 pieces. It's really fantastic. Now with the lemons, I bought the bigger lemons. Usually I will buy a bag of lemons, and they tend to be smaller. They weren't that fresh when I went to go pick up all my ingredients. So I had to buy the individual lemons, which are much bigger. So right now I have, I squoze, right? That is a word. Squeezed? Squozed. All right. I did say you might have to interpret some of the things I say. I have no idea. So I squeezed the lemon juices out, which I only use 4 right now. And I think that might be enough, especially with my chicken broth, because my chicken broth, we're going to use a 48-ounce chicken broth. You can buy the smaller boxes if you want, if you are going to make less. I just love, I love my extra sauces and everything. So I love having extra, the lemon sauce on the side. But this is a perfect portion, the 48-ounce chicken broth with the one little bottle of Cabot. I like Cabot. Whatever white wine you want to use is fine. But I found that this bottle right here, the small one that comes in the 4-packs, is like the perfect portion for that. It's just what I've learned. And you can add a little more, add a little less. You really are gonna have to taste it, as you go. Before we add the chicken into the sauce, we're gonna taste it to make sure, like, okay, do I need a little more lemon? You don't want to add, you want to add a little lemon at a time. Like, don't add too much, because that's something you can't take back. But you can add to the lemon. Okay, so I wanted to show you, usually, so I have 4 lemons in here. I'm gonna add another one in here and show you how, guys, to cut up a lemon, right? So I was just talking to Mike, and back in the day when my mother-in-law taught me how to make this recipe, we have these like little strainers. I call them drainers, but they're called strainers. And we would just squeeze the lemon from, in it this way. But then I found this contraption, and so I'm like, okay, I just recently, found it. And I'm like, how do I do this? So I figured it out. You put it in here, right? And I got this at like Marshall's for like $4 or something. And then you just squeeze it, and it make sure that the seeds aren't coming out. I did one of the lemons that I did squeeze. It did what the seed came out. I had to get it, but all the other ones, it's been pretty good. So this is like a pretty cool. And I didn't know, maybe there's another way to use it. I don't know. Mike was saying his girl uses something like this. I was like, call her, find out. But it seemed like it works well with it. So, all right, let's squeeze that in there. Okay, so I think this is probably heated up. You want to make sure this is heated up to a medium-high heat before you put it on, because you want that browning of the chicken. So you don't want to put chicken on when your pan's not heated. It's not going to cook right. And if you ever see at restaurants and stuff, it's because they got that high heat, because they're putting it on the right temperatures. It's really crucial that you do that, or it's not going to cook up right. So I'm just going to let this still heat just a little bit more. I think it's, I didn't get my utensils out that I need this, that I need to put this on. So I can try this out here. Okay. And with this chicken, yeah, it's about ready to go. With this chicken, we don't have to cook this all the way through. We don't need to make it all the way through. We just want to brown it on each side, because it's going to cook down in the broth. So we just are basically doing this to brown it on each side. Okay. I think I can fit one more in there. Yeah. And I have breaded this up for parties earlier in the day, and because of the egg and the flour, it kind of got like mushy, and I didn't really like it. But you could do that, where you could make it a little bit earlier if you're having a party, and then just fry this up at the end. But I don't, I personally don't like it like that, sitting like that. So we're just gonna brown it up here. And this is, I think, one of Danny's favorite recipes I make. I'm excited for other people to get the recipe, because it's a different meal to make. I mean, I know a lot of people go out, you have the chicken franchise, and you know, to me, a lot of the places are very different, but the sauce is very light. You don't really taste, I don't even know if all of them really use the white wine and how much lemon they use, but you definitely taste the white wine and lemon in this. And I feel like Danny B wants to come in.
No, just checking it out. No,
he needs attention.
No.
Yeah, he's smelling it.
I'm smelling it. I just
Yeah, the
like
lemon.
aroma.
Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna brown this up. Like I said, we don't have to, you know, you don't have to cook this all the way through. You just want to put a little crisp to it. Okay, here we go. And while I'm putting this on, I just, you know, always want to shout out to everyone that watches our videos, Keeping It Real, and who's been watching my segment and sending me pictures that they did the recipe that I shared, which is like really exciting, that people are sending me pictures of it and really enjoying it and actually making it, you know, so thank you so much, guys. Okay, so we're just going to keep this going here. Okay. Okay, so this is how you want the pan. See, I put that olive oil on the bottom of it, and I just covered the bottom of it, and look, it all absorbs, so you know, you don't have to worry about dumping any of the olive oil. So all this stuff that's on the bottom of the pan, this you want to keep in the pan. You're not going to clean that out. And what we're going to do, and this is going to, I'm going to turn this up a little bit because it's going to be a high heat here, and it's going to, you know, steam up. But this, you want to put the wine on first. This is going to be the first step of making the lemon sauce. So, and it's going to steam up in here. Let me see here. Are we ready? This thing might come on. Just do a little bit at a time. Okay, you're going to mix this all around as it goes. And you're going to use one of these mini bottles, just one mini bottle. And if you want to add more, add more. If you want to drink the other three, drink the other three. That's what I would say, right? Okay, so then we're going to use the 48 ounce of collagen chicken broth, okay? Look, I got it today, Mike. I didn't have a lotion on this time. Okay, so we're going to mix all this and just slowly mix it up here. This is the chicken broth. You're going to get all that in together. Just slowly mix it in. And we're going to keep this on, you know, your high heat because we want to bring this to a boil. Just bring all this to a boil. Mix it all in here. I mean, I guess it is like a, you know, little more steps than just being like an easy recipe. But like I said, it's definitely worth the try. And you can get somebody else involved. Let somebody else watch this video with you and you guys can make it together. Cut it in time. Cut it in half. Okay, we're gonna get rid of that. So we wanna bring this to a boil. I'm gonna get this hot. Bring this to a boil. And we're gonna add the lemon juice. I would definitely say for this, you're going to need at least 4 small lemons. These were big lemons that I squeezed in here, so I'm not going to pour the whole thing in at one time. This is something you want to taste it and go back to and say, okay, let me add a little more lemon, because unless you have more chicken broth with you, you're not going to be able to level out that lemon flavor. So you just want to make sure you slowly add that. So I'm just going to slowly add, not all the lemon juice. And we need this to come to a boil. We'll let that go for right now. So then here we go with this, the broth. We're gonna get this going. And you see this is not thick yet. So I'm gonna show you guys after this gets to a boil, and I'm gonna taste it to see if that's how I like it. You add flour, but you have to sift it in there. You can't just like pour flour in or it's gonna get clumpy. You gotta sift it in here. But I wait to do that until I check the flavor of it. So just wanna get this, turn this up here, move this along here. Okay, all right. Well, hopefully we got everything that we wanted in this video here on how to make it step by step. I think the biggest thing is the, I just, you know, with the sliced chicken, make sure that it's thin chicken. You can pound it or slice it thin like I do. And then I just think it gives it an extra boost when you put the garlic powder, salt and pepper on the chicken before you dip it into the whipped eggs and then into the flour. And then you just lightly fry that chicken. It's going to be a very lightly fry on both sides. You just want to brown it because the chicken's going to cook down in the sauce, and you don't want to have it over rubbery, so you don't want to overcook it. So you just like lightly brown it on each side before you add it to the lemon sauce. Okay, and you can make pasta on the side. You can do the I steam the broccoli. I don't know if you guys can see this, but my mother-in-law bought, I have no idea what this is even called, but it has like holes in the bottom of it, right? And you put your water down there and it steams your vegetables for you. It's like awesome. Emeralds. I am like going to my deathbed with this thing. Like this is gonna be with me forever and ever. Like I've never even seen anything like it, but she got it for me like 20 something years ago and I still have this. Like I'm going hard. This is like lasted me my whole life. Okay, so we're just gonna keep mixing this up. Keep mixing it up here. And then I am going to, I put a spoon over here. I'm gonna test my flavor here. Let me see here. I'm gonna make sure it's not hot, right? Ooh, that's got a good lemon to it already. Yeah, that has a good lemon taste to it already. I did good with that one. Okay, so this is how I thicken my sauce up. Okay, so I probably used what I have set. I started out with, I probably used about 4 large lemons because they were large. Like I said, I used to buy the bags of lemons, but sometimes seasonal they get nasty, and those ones are smaller. So I don't know what's up. It must be like a seasonal thing of when you can get lemons. Like every other fruit and vegetable, they're in season certain time. Okay, so I'm just gonna bring that to a boil. And you just take your, if you have like a little strainer like this, you just add your flour to it. This is coming to a boil, so I'm going to turn this down to a medium. And then I'm just going to sift the flour in there. And this is what thickens up your sauce. So you just sift it in there, and you just keep mixing it. And this will thicken it up. Now, you don't want to add too much because what happens is the flour that's on the chicken, that gets absorbed in here as well. So although when you're putting this sifted flour in here, you might think, oh, I want it a little more thickened and let me keep adding, but don't do that because it's going to get too thick then after it cooks down and then once we put that chicken in there. Okay. So we're just gonna keep doing that. I use about like one of these, and I had no idea what the size or what the true name of this is either. I just call it well, actually, I call them all drainers, but they're strainers. So, but now you know. But you know what? I would know what you're talking about if you started naming things differently too. I think we all just like, we get it. Okay, we get the concept. Okay, so you definitely don't want to just throw the flour in there because it will chunk up. Because even like the little pieces in there, you can see it now, it chunked up a little bit. So we're gonna leave it like that, okay? So I just added one of that portion to it, which I don't even know what that size is. Okay, so then you're just gonna put your, oh wait, you know what? One more thing. Oh, well look at that. Oh, okay. One more thing I forgot. This I really do, honestly, I do this, and you'll see it at the restaurants, you have like parsley in there. I really do. I don't know if it gives it too much flavor. I do it for look. So we're just gonna add a little in that sauce. Yeah, just add a little bit of those parsley flakes in there. And then we're gonna put the chicken in there. And this is gonna be, then you're gonna put this on a low, you're gonna put it on a low heat to simmer basically is what you want. And this will thicken up. And I would say at least let this cook down a half hour. I like to cook it down for maybe an hour and then eat it. Whoop, splashing. Oh, geez. I think that one went on my toe. Okay, so we're gonna get that in there. And this is what I also like to do, right? And this will cook down and then give it a little bit more of a lemon because I love the lemon. I like to put a couple of lemon slices in there and let that cook down with it. But always make sure that you don't want the seed, you don't want the lemon seeds in there because you don't want people like eating that. So I just always throw a few of them in there with it and let it cook down like that. And we're gonna come back to this then. We're gonna let this cook down for a little bit. And what you need to do, well, you don't have to do it, I just do it. I will put a lid on it. So that looks great like that. And we're just gonna let this cook down like this, right? Looks good, right? All right, and you don't have to put it on all the way. You can just like kind of leave a little side off of it and put it on a low simmer. And we'll check back on this in a little bit. Okay, so we let this cook down for about an hour. And when you add the flour, when you sift the flour in to thicken up the sauce, if you want to add a little bit more than what I showed you, I would only do like one more of that little sifter. I like it a little more runnier than some people might like it a little more thicker here. So this cooked down for an hour and it's ready to go. I paired it with the steamed broccoli that we figured out it's called a double broiler. This is what this is right here that I steamed the broccoli in. And you put it all on here. Yummy yum. Look at that. Beautiful. Get all that sauce on there. Just throwing it. And then, of course, you know, you got to top it with the Parm cheese. Look at that. Beautiful. I love a little extra Parm. There you go. That looks fantastic. There you go. Lemon chicken. Hope everyone enjoys it. Thanks for watching all the videos. Thanks for sending me pictures of your recipes that you learned from me and you made them and you love them. Thanks, everyone.
It's time to get cooking with what's cooking, Jay. Grab the Keepin, turn off the thing, get it ready to play. We're mixing our flavors, making magic on your plate. With pepper, sizzle, let them stir, it's gonna be great. Turn up the heat, let the music